Tal'Daram Altar is the map that we are going to play in this third match. At the bottom right, we have the Protoss player in this PvZ. It is
JYP.
That's right, and there is Hotpad in the middle, concentrating on the match and the early game. His opponent starting at the top right, cross-positioned to JYP, none other than
GSL.
His teammate didn't do all that well yesterday. Cezanne, a little bit disappointing, was not able to get into Code S. Will play in Code A next season, and Lovesick is trying to achieve what his teammate could not.
Yeah. I wanted to mention, I was, well, hold that thought, look at this. Neither of these players very highly favored from the fans of getting out of this group. 8.1% for JYP, excuse me, and 2% for Lovesick. I also wanted to say that when I was in the makeup room, I noticed that these two players seem to be pretty good friends. They talk to each other quite often, and you know, they seemed like they were really close based on how they were talking to each other. So I wanted to mention that as well.
Hold that thought for a second, because we have a 12th pool of Lovesick. He's going for a pool at 12. But obviously JYP already started scouting with the first probe that built the pylon. And when you don't scout your opponent as a Protoss player in the first position, you are going to send out a second one as soon as you start building that forge, which is exactly what JYP did. So he knows about the pool timing, and he should realize that this pool is a little bit earlier than usual. The main question will be, how many Zerglings does Lovesick build now?
Well, he's going to make his initial 4 and his queen. Will he make 2 more when his next larval pops out? That's the question.
Oh, and we will see the Nexus as the second building. JYP might have misread the timing of his opponent's pool.
I think either way at cross positions, it's the smart choice by JYP. And Lovesick only made 4 Zerglings, so he's not really going to be able to do a ton of damage, even if he is able to get past that first cannon, which, since he's chasing this probe down, doesn't look like you will be able to. I love that Protoss players are doing this now. They're trying to delay the Zergling push with the probe. Just doing a ton of harassment with that probe really slows down the Zergling push. Some Zergs can just ignore the probe, but it's scary. The probe can block the hatchery. Probe could do all sorts of things in your base. You don't want that to happen, especially when you haven't really seen what your opponent's doing yet. And Lovesick actually has no idea where his opponent spawned.
Well, the thing is, with a 12 pool, you are usually in a position where you can still rely on your economy. You don't sacrifice all that much of it. But if JYP would have gone, for example, for a really greedy build like a Nexus first play, because he feels like he can get away with it. We've seen a lot of builds like this in the up and downs, because it's just a best of one. He could have punished it, but as it is, JYP with the Forge first, send out the units. Lovesick, of course, with the timing of the probe scout, can assume that his opponent is starting cross position, tries to go for it. And with the 12 pool, you already have the hatch a little bit earlier, because your Zerglings can chase away that probe that Wolf mentioned. And we have a third base now. He's going for a very fast third.
Third base going down for Lovesick now. Core about to be dropped for JYP. He's actually starting a Zealot first.
And this is one of the problems that you have on this map when you are a Zerg player. You have to choose the positioner for your third base. Lovesick decides to go for third as soon as he realizes that his opponent is starting with that Forge first Nexus, which you usually see. It's a bread and butter play of every Protoss player in this matchup on Tal'Daram Altar. But as there are rocks at the third base, you have either to kill the rocks or take that base that is a little bit farther away. And it's of course exposed, so let's see if JYP is trying to capitalize on it and trying to put pressure onto the third base.
Yeah, looks like it's definitely been spotted by JYP now. We'll see what JYP's got in mind. He hasn't yet taken his gases at his natural. I think we're going to see him just add the 3 gateways and put a little bit more pressure on his opponent. He's doing the 2 Zealot pressure as well, actually sending his first 2 Zealots out right now. And a Stargate goes down, interestingly, for JYP.
I wouldn't have expected a Stargate because of the positions. With cross position, it's not all that common. We had another Zerg versus Protoss yesterday where they started at the top of the map, and that would favor a Stargate play, of course, a lot more. You talked a little bit about the distances between the 2 bases, and that the Stargate will actually hit the third very, very early. So
I'm liking the Zealot pressure with the Stargate full up. The one thing that this is really good against is if he can kill this Queen, which he shouldn't be able to kill a Queen if Lovesick micros correctly, but if he can kill this Queen, the creep is so far away since he's actually just going to run away with his Zealots, and that's pretty smart. But the creep is so far away, the one Queen may not be enough when the Phoenix comes behind the Void Ray.
I actually don't agree with this decision to go for the inject before he starts spreading his creep. Especially with the third Queen out, and you already have 3 hatcheries, you should be able to spend... you should be able to have enough lava so that you can get your buildings. You need to spread the creep in order to defend against the Stargate, and with no creep spread between the second and the third base, JYP will be able to do a lot more damage with his one Void Ray and the follow-up as he is supposed to.
Oh wow, JYP putting a pylon down, but spotted by Lovesick. This is a lot of pressure coming out from JYP. His 3 gateways are finished. He's got 4 gates now, and the first Void Ray coming out. Will the pylon be taken out? It looks like no.
+1 is done. Lovesick is going for roaches.
This is a really common and strong timing attack right now. JYP with 8 Zealots out. He's going to warp in 4 more at that 4th pylon if he can keep it alive. Another pylon goes down as well. So even if he takes this one out, oh, this is so looking really bad for Lovesick.
But he's building Spore Crawlers, and some of them at his 3rd. He's getting roaches so that he can defend against his opponents. Oh, and supply block. JYP is supply blocked right now, which is bad, but +1 Zealots will be able to take down the Zerglings without a problem at all. The roaches are key now, and he has a lot of Spore Crawlers at the 3rd base as well. Is he able to take down his opponent's Zealots? It looks like he is.
Yeah, he's going to be totally fine here, actually. A little bit of bad micro from JYP, and since he was not able to warp in his Zealots, he had the ability to warp in his Zealots at that pylon, but he chose not to. Now he just does not have enough, and the roaches are out, but the Void Ray charging up on those roaches now, going to take out a few of them. Lovesick's not out of this yet. Just depends on whether or not JYP wants to continue the pressure.
He immediately built the 2nd Queen, so he decided not to transfer Queens over from his natural, therefore no creeps between the 2 bases. He's just now trying to connect them, but he built a 2nd Queen and 3 Spore Crawlers because he knew that the main goal for JYP would be to shut down that 3rd base, and he defended very, very well.
Still, JYP does have that pylon up at the top left he can use to harass later. The worker count 51 to 53 in Lovesick's favor. He's getting a few more drones out, making 2 Queens right now. That's going to put him up to a total of 6. I like that choice. Oh, we got to be careful when you're going for those rocks. Zerglings might catch you. Does lose a sentry.
He's quite lucky at that. 3rd base now coming up for JYP. Oh, a Nidus network. I like it a lot. Look at Lovesick going for the Nidus, building more spores to defend against potential air pressure.
Oh man, he's got an Overseer towards the main base of JYP. He may Nidus the main, but he may also just use the Nidus as like a forward pylon and try to rally roaches and attack the front, considering that JYP has an army that's not really built to fight roaches, plus he only has 1 photon cannon there as a drone just scouted.
I love the Nidus. Nidus are really underused right now by Zerg. You see them occasionally, and there it is. It is spotted already, and he reacts, warping in a bunch of Zealots. I feel that he misplaced the Nidus a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he put it in that location.
A little bit more to the left, and I guess that JYP would not have been able to see it. Can you just check the vision of the pylon?
Yeah.
As soon as the Stalkers move back.
Yeah, it's all about that Twilight Council. He didn't know the Twilight Council was there, but yeah, you're exactly right. It would have been safer to make it there. I'm pretty sure the pylon wouldn't have seen it otherwise. And another Nidus going down at the 3rd, but JYP already prepared for this. It may finish. It's getting close, but it doesn't look like it will. And not very many units are going to get out, even if it does. Nope, warp in. Stops it. It's a lot of resources lost for Lovesick, committing a little bit too much to this, I feel.
Now his opponent knows that there's always the potential danger of Nidus. We have Hydra Den, by the way, and the range already, while he's going for drop now. After the Nidus failed, he's now keen to drop his opponent.
Yeah, I feel like he's missed his timing window to make something like this work, because now JYP has a decent Stalker count. He's still got that Sentry count that's fairly healthy as well. His Robotic Support Bay just finished. He's got +2 about to finish as well. And I don't think a Hydralisk drop is going to be very successful, especially considering that JYP is already prepared, putting units, pylons, probes, stalkers, everything to spot for Nidus. He's going to spot the Hydralisk drop just as well.
And he's going for Colossi, and Colossi will be able to deal with the Hydralisk just in time.
I
nice
really like
warp
this.
in. can't see that, but at the top he's swapping into Zealots, to Stalkers in order to kill one of the Overlords. Well done, and is now pressuring the third base from the high ground.
Yeah, you can always do this when you have a pylon up at that location. Takes out the Queen, actually, down at that base with those Stalkers, and is going to deny mining of this gas, at least temporarily, before these Roaches arrive.
And we don't even have a fourth for Lovesick. He's 185 supply. He's clearing the Stalkers with his Roaches and taking down that pylon as well. Finally, the last Stalker dies. Drop is finished. Done.
Yeah. And 2 more Hydras on the way. A total right now of 6 Hydras and 44 Roaches. So this is going to be a more Roach-heavy drop than anything. I just don't feel this is going to be very successful. JYP has Blink for his Stalkers. He's got a decent amount of them out.
What are the upgrades for Lovesick's army right now? He has one attack upgrade, while JYP is already researching +3 attack.
This is not a good place for JYP to be right now, though. He needs to have his army all together in a much better defensible position. Not a good place for Lovesick's Roaches, though. He's split up, and now several of them trapped.
All of them dying. Very nice engagement by JYP.
And he may just try to drop on top of the army itself. He does have speed, and this could work.
Just going for it. Overlords die. He's not able to make good use of his force fields because of the drop. This is not looking too bad for Lovesick. Is he able to pull this off? He's trying to kill the Colossi. The Colossi are saved by JYP, moving them to the high ground, but the rest of the army is under a lot of pressure. Still, JYP getting more and more units, blinking in and taking down that force of Lovesick. This is a horrible position for the Zerg player to be in now.
The idea was cute. I think that's the best way to put it. You know, he did do a decent amount of damage. He traded okay. Did not do enough, though. And Nidus actually goes down in the main base of JYP. He doesn't notice it.
That might be what brings Lovesick back into this game. Is he able to force JYP back? I don't think JYP will retreat, though. He is! JYP is retreating to save his main base. He's not going to kill his opponents third or second. And those Roaches, they deal so much damage in the main base. So it will take ages until JYP is back to defend this.
Yeah, this is actually a weird choice by JYP to turn around in this case. In fact, he's able to defend it with all of his units in his main. Doesn't even need
the Nexus. He might be able to snipe the Nexus. Yes, he will.
Yeah, definitely going to get the Nexus.
And retreats.
Yeah, and he didn't even need the units that he brought back to defend that. He actually defended it enough with the units he had in his main. A little bit disappointed with JYP's choice to turn around. He's still doing a lot of damage with those Stalkers up at the top left, though. Another
Nidus is being built while the Stalkers are now attacking this economy line and being taken down. Nice, he was able to spot the Nidus network. JYP able to defend, but Lovesick is everywhere now, dropping at the natural, sending in another Nidus at the third, and this is just wow.
Well, JYP has got a really strong army now. His Colossus count is getting a little bit higher. He's got 2. He's going to have the third one out. The worker count for JYP is out of control, 79 to 55.
And he has a 4th. He has a 4th base. Lovesick is really everywhere at this time, but the thing is that JYP is still doing a really, really good job. He was a little bit sloppy with not seeing that one single Nidus, and that cost him a lot of units. But we have just now the Spire tech, so he doesn't have any Colossi in order to deal with the... any Corruptors, yeah, to deal with the Colossi. And with 4 bases, JYP is looking really good.
Yeah, he was scaring me a little bit with his Colossi. He had them way out in the middle of the map where they almost got killed. But it looks like he's going to be okay here. Stalkers continuing to pressure the top base of Lovesick. He's not able to mine gas from one of those extractors.
Oh no,
the Colossi out of position again.
Oh, that should not happen. He's losing 2 of them. Another Nidus is being built. What was repelled.
Oh man, and he's actually not in the best position here. There's so many units inside of these. Overlords are going to drop on top here. Even with Blink, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough.
You are not allowed to lose 2 Colossi like this. This is just too bad for JYP now. He was in a decent position due to his economy, but Lovesick has the bigger army. He's attacking now, and without the Colossi, JYP doesn't have the tech advantage anymore. He's trying to defend, but there are so many Roaches and Hydraulics, and he's dropping onto the high ground as well.
And the Roaches being flanked by these Stalkers. But yeah, the bigger problem is the ones coming into the main base probes trying to slow this down. The unit's clumping up quite a bit. The Colossus getting some really good hits here. He does have +3. That's something that Lovesick does not have. He only has +2.
The thing is that JYP can actually afford to lose a bunch of probes because he's so far ahead in his work account, and his opponent is still on 3 bases. Let's not forget about this.
Yeah, and he's actually going to be able to counterattack and possibly even kill his opponent at this point, since he has much better upgrades. 3-1 against 0-2, and he's got the better army. This is looking really bad for Lovesick.
And the main problem with the engagement of Lovesick was his army was actually fighting at 2 places at once. His army got split and he fought the Stalkers of JYP with a really small army, while the main part was trying to get into the main base, but with a probe block, he couldn't get in there. And from the back, all the Stalkers and also the Colossi dealt damage, so his army was taken apart with basically only killing probes.
Yeah, and you know, it's really a big overcommitment, I think, by Lovesick. He needed to be going for more bases, but he just was not. I like this. The Overlords go to hide, but JYP is ready, and Lovesick, he's in a tough spot. He does not have an additional base. JYP has units around the map to deny bases. In fact, he's got a huge, strong army in the middle. He's got 3-1 upgrades. His Forge is about to finish again, so he's going to start armor upgrades. Again, he's got a Mothership on the way now as well, and that means he's going to be a lot more mobile on the map. He can recall his units back at any moment if they become in danger. This is a almost unwinnable situation for Lovesick. It's going to take some Squirtle-like situation for him to come back at this point.
Or JYP making another mistake, like leaving those 2 Colossi in the middle of the map. But Lovesick could not really capitalize on this. He actually, that attack was really strong, but his army got split into 2 halves, and JYP dealt with the situation very well, while Lovesick didn't control his army all too good.
Yeah, he did not control his army very well. Normally, if the Protoss army is in 2 groups, you want to kill 1 group at a time, but in this case, he just ran into the natural, just kind of Hail Mary, and his opponent, of course, flanked him, and he just now got a glimpse of the 4th base. He's like, oh, that's how you have so many units.
That's his biggest problem. He committed to that 3-base attack and never got that 4th. He should have macroed a little bit better in this situation and taken the 4th at the same time. We have an engagement in the middle, but now once again no Corruptors and a lot of Colossi. 3 of them. That's enough with the +3 attack upgrade to take down all the Roaches and the Hydras. There's the GG. JYP. He shakes his head, he's like, well, I should have won that a long time ago.
Yeah, an unusual game. Lovesick really committing to all of his harassments. He did the drop that was really ineffective. He lost 2 Niduses at the first part when he got his, Nidus network up and running. He tried to go for it twice, was unsuccessful 2 times. Just a lot of problems with this harassment. Even after that, he was trying to do cute little things like dropping Hydras. He never effectively dealt with the pylons at the top left, so there were always gas being denied. The Queen at that base was killed so many times. He did not have the good production from that base that he really needed. And the biggest oversight, I feel, was not scouting the bottom right 4th base of JYP. Even though he killed the main Nexus, I feel like he was like, yes, he's like, I got this. Now he's stuck on 2 bases, and even though I'm only on 3, I'm on 3 and he's on 2, and I traded armies with him okay, but the 4th base, which is up and running, he just took his probes and sent them over there. He had a much better worker count than his opponent, and Lovesick, rather than trying to hide bases or get ahead in another way, just kept trying to do drops and trying to run his units in, and eventually, when your opponent has a better upgrade, he has got the really strong upgrade advantage. I mean, like 3-1 to 0-2, that's a huge advantage.
Actually, he had 3.
So when you have that, you don't want to start trading with your opponent because you're not going to trade effectively anymore, and then suddenly the supply is going up and up and up, and Lovesick's like, oh wow, now I don't have an army that I can even pressure him with. He's actually going to kill me, and so he's like desperately trying to drop to keep the army back, trying to even use more Nidus. I saw him 2 times, and you guys probably didn't see us on camera. 2 times he built a Nidus next to 2 Zealots and a Stalker and watched it die. I mean, he was desperately trying to do something, but it was just not very effective. We're going to take a 5-minute break, guys. We've got so many more matches for you afterwards, so don't go anywhere. Tell your friends to go to twitch.tv/GOMTV and watch us there. See you guys in 5.